Man, this market just continues to heat up and getting more and more interesting. This year has just been wild between corporate adoption of Bitcoin through companies like MicroStrategy and other companies trying to be like MicroStrategy to ETFs. Now they're talking about, your PEPE ETFs and obviously XRP, Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin ETFs, and all these things going through. All of the laws that we are trying to pass, the Genius Act that went through already through the Senate, goes to the House next, then to the president for signing. And then we've got the Clarity Act that's going to come through. All of these things are just creating all of this widespread adoption. Retail's still not here, but the institutions, the big money, the billionaires, they're all talking about crypto. It seems to be the hot topic on the discussion of all of the minds in all the institutions right now. Maybe that's just because we're all deep in it. But there's recently been a couple things I'd like to share with you where I think I'm going to have to eat some of my words from the past. And I was reminded by a friend of mine recently that, regardless of how slow I think Ethereum is, the traditional finance world sees this as a very fast thing that can be built upon, that's true, tried, and tested. So with that, before we get into it, remember, everything single day in crypto is an adventure. While I try my best to come out with new videos every day, sometimes life presents challenges, but please follow along, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to see you here on a regular basis. If you find any value in what I talk about today, do me a favor and hit that like button. And with that, let's get into it. So we're talking about Ethereum today, and you've probably seen this clip I'm about to show you, but I have a different take on it that, might be a little, like I said, a little bit different of a take that might be different than the other ones out there. So with that, I'm going to play this Tom Lee clip.
FundStrat's Tom Lee. He's also a CNBC contributor. And this morning, he's got some news. Bitcoin miner BitMine Immersion Technologies announcing that Tom will become its chairman. Tom, welcome, first of all. And this is some big news. It's kind of complicated, but probably suffice to say that you all are doing basically what MicroStrategy did with Ether. You're going to make Ether, the purchases that you buy through this, you're going to set this whole thing up like this. You want to explain a little bit?
Yeah, glad to. I'm still a big fan of Bitcoin because I think it is, digital gold. But what we've seen in the last, really in 2025, is the financial services industry and crypto are converging. And it really started with stablecoins, which is the ChatGPT of crypto, right? Because it's viral adoption by consumers, businesses, banks, and now even Visa. Underneath the stablecoin industry is Ethereum. That is really like the backbone and architecture of stablecoins. So it's important.
Let's pause it there just for a second. So this guy, Tom Lee, when he talks, you kind of got to listen. He's been on the forefront of a lot of these things, major investor, major company. But here's the deal, is that the TradFi, the traditional finance system, that's, your standard operating 9-to-5 banker bros. They're looking at crypto going, for years they fought it. For years they fought crypto going, like, look, this is going to impede upon our progress. It's going to take away fees from us on the banking side. And they looked at it as a nuisance and as a trend and as something that was going to go away. They called it, the tulips of the Dutch 1600s. But they realize that this is a tool we can use and a system we can use. And when these people find out how to make more money off something, they're going to use it and, dare I say, exploit it. And Tom Lee figured out a long time ago that Bitcoin's power. Now he's creating a company that's going to do with what MicroStrategy did with Bitcoin for Ethereum. But that's not the bigger picture here. The bigger picture is that Ethereum, as slow as we all may think it is, and there's faster cryptos like Sui, or there's Solana, or Sei, or Aptos. All these ones are faster than Ethereum. But Ethereum is the queen, or the prince, I should say, to Bitcoin, who is the king. And the prince is looking for its time. And what I thought was slow and all these other ones would be adopted, and maybe Ethereum is going to be like Yahoo, and Google will come along and knock Yahoo out of its place. But the reality is that right now, the play might be, Ethereum might be a good thing to look at right now. And this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm telling you what I'm doing. And so right now, I sold, and I said I might eat my words. I sold some Ethereum a while back. I traded it for Bitcoin. I I don't regret my play because Bitcoin has increased in value. But Ethereum, I think, has an opportunity to run here if it's adopted in the background. And when I see companies like, the Trumps buying Ethereum and all these major institutions buying Ethereum and the ETFs still buying Ethereum, I think, well, gosh, even though it might not be the fastest, it might not be the best, it's still better than most of the other systems that this traditional finance world is looking at. And what Tom Lee says in this video is basically that the trad world, the traditional finance world, and the DeFi, the decentralized finance world, they're starting to come together. And this could be seen, even Robinhood right now is allowing staking of Solana and Ethereum. And when he goes on to say more about the staking piece, staking gives stability to the system. But when you stake Ethereum, it takes it off the market. So the more people that stake Ethereum and get their 2 to 3% returns, it takes it off the market. Solana right now, I think Robinhood is offering somewhere around 6 or 7% for staking your Solana. That's pretty big if you think about it. And they're about to have an ETF, but I diverge. So let's go back to this for just a second here. I have one more thing I want you to see.
Accumulates Ethereum to essentially protect and have some influence on the network. So that's why we're creating this treasury vehicle to buy Ethereum. The more Ethereum that's accumulated, the more secure the network is. And I think it's also sort of the architecture that future banks will have. When Goldman issues a stablecoin, and JP Morgan doing it on Ethereum, as a layer 1 blockchain, they're going to want to secure it by staking Ethereum. So
well, let's pause it right there. You heard what he said.
By creating a treasury.
Let's go back. Listen to this again.
Ethereum. So we're trying to get in front of that by creating a treasury. Use a stablecoin, and JP Morgan doing it on Ethereum.
JP Morgan doing it on Ethereum, issuing stablecoins. So this is also a stablecoin play, Ethereum. If they're going to run these stablecoins on Ethereum, yeah, it might be a little more expensive, might be a little slower than Solana, Sui, Aptos. You can keep going, Base, Arbitron, all these other ones. That it might be a little slower, it might be a little more expensive, but it might be a system that the traditional finance world trusts. And then he goes on to talk about tokenization. Well, look, before we get into all that, let's take a look at where we are exactly with Ethereum, because I think that here's Ethereum versus Bitcoin. And as you see, that relationship, it used to be you'd got more Bitcoin with your Ethereum, but the price of Ethereum was going up. Down. Price of Bitcoin was going up, so that diverged. So right now, that spread between Ethereum and Bitcoin is at, it's a pretty high spread. You're getting the least amount of Ethereum, or the most amount of Ethereum per Bitcoin, and the other way around, the least amount of Bitcoin per Ethereum that we've gotten in a long, long time. Back to, when is this? 2019. So, that spread between Ethereum and Bitcoin, it used to be a lot higher. Like we got to, Ethereum was at, what was this? It was probably at around 4,100. Yeah, we were back at about 4,000 back in 2024. And remember, Bitcoin in 2024 was lower. A lot lower. So yeah, that spread was a lot tighter. Now that spread is widened. You get a lot less Bitcoin per Ethereum than you did in the past. But now Ethereum has been rising up. We were down at about 1,400 back in April of this year. Now, looking back, that was a great buy signal. I'm sorry. I bought some back then, but then I sold it right around here. I say midway here. And then it went up. And that's when I sold some. I took a very small profit. But now we're trading within the 0.382 and 0.5 Fibonacci. It's been kind of trending through here. And that 0.382 has been becoming a decent floor of resistance, or floor of support, and it's holding it above that 382. Well, right now with all the things that are going on with Ethereum, it's possible that it will pop. And there's a couple things I'm looking at doing. Obviously, if I think Ethereum is going to raise faster than Bitcoin, I might reinstate more of my ETH Bitcoin bots. So I take Bitcoin and I buy Ethereum with it and sell it back into Bitcoin as it rises. That way I can stack more Bitcoin. I also do EasyBot. For those of you who don't know me, I've been big into EasyBot for a while. Now, I just created some new bots today and today and last couple of weeks. But I created some new bots, and I'm probably going to do a BTC ETH bot. Basically, EasyBot is basically just software that sends through an API sends buy and sell signals to your exchange, where I hold these in Kraken, which Kraken's a great exchange, not financial advice. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. But I'm going to go ahead and create, I don't have any Bitcoin in here, but I was going to go ahead and create a Bitcoin and Ethereum bot so that it buys and sells on a schedule, on an algorithm. As it goes down, it buys more. As it goes up, it sells. So that way I can take advantage of that, lock in some profits ahead of time. So with that, it's really, really easy. I just go like this, hit this button here. I select my exchange. My currency is going to be Bitcoin. I'll take my Bitcoin. Let's do BTC. I'll keep the sliding blockchain. It's just a strategy that's one of their proprietary strategies they use for this bot. I'll call it ETH BTC bot. And then I'll select, let's see, ETH. Where's my ETH? There it is. I'm going to cycle it. I can just do a single trade, but I'm going to cycle it so it continues to buy and sell. Active, I'll assign a little bit more Bitcoin to it, and then we'll go ahead and save this bot. Very simple. So with that, now I've created a Bitcoin Ethereum bot. So it's going to buy Ethereum with my Bitcoin and sell the Ethereum back into Bitcoin as the Ethereum rises. So that way I can stack Bitcoin. I truly believe Bitcoin is the king. I want to have more Bitcoin. This will help me build more Bitcoin. So I'm just, instead of USDT, I'm using Bitcoin as the purchaser. So as this spread widens or comes back together, as this goes up, I will make money in Bitcoin. So that's my strategy for this Ethereum play. And we'll watch it play out. I'll give you an update on this bot every once in a while. By the way, I have my Sol play. I did some longs on Sol. It did great yesterday. Solana went up to like $160. It's back down to $150, but I took profits along the way. And with that, that's about all I have. So again, I'm just showing you what I'm doing. If you're looking to get into EasyBot, check out below. I also have a lot of other videos about EasyBot. I'll put one at the end here. A video about EasyBot I did 2 or 3 years ago, and it still holds true today. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, put them down below. And with that, I will see you next time.